afternoon and welcome to today's edition of the Afternoon Edition. My name is Isa Nu. Today we shall be focusing still on issues that borders on gender and also looking at some professional level. There are so many professions in the country today that so many persons would say these professions are not actually made for women. But then we've also seen so many women who have always done their best to break into that hood by making sure that no matter the constraint that is being placed in some of these professions, you find them there. And then, let us also say once more congratulations to all Nigerians for celebrating the 64th anniversary. But then we also look back at major issues like how many of these women in those days when we are fighting for this independence were able to put in their guards to see that yes, today we can get to this particular point of ours. That brings us to what we call land surveying today. So many professions in the country, most especially land survey, has been one of the professions where you see little, to an extent, maybe no women. Because if you take count of about 774 local governments in Nigeria today, can you boast of saying that just like we have teachers in all local government, do we have land surveyors who are also women in all the 774 local government? And that's the more reason why we are having this conversation today, looking strictly on land surveying and the mentorship role that this profession brings. Because anything you want to do, the first set of people you get, most especially when it comes to the issue of building, real estate irrespective of the type, the first set of people you get in touch with are the land surveyors. And as at last week, they had a program where they discussed basically the role of women in the society with respect to how they have helped in the profession. And today, we are going to be having conversation with the leadership of this particular group, Women in Surveying. So after this break, you will see the two guests we have today in person of Surveyor Ajoke Fatima Akintola, who is the FCT coordinator and also a former young surveyor of Nigerian FCT chapter in person of Ekanem Kufri Josmat, who is also here in the studio. And both of them will be telling us their views with regards to land surveying and how it has impacted so many young women to come and partake in it. So we'll go on this break, and when we return back, we start with the conversation.
The challenge of Nigeria as a free state in 20th century Africa is the need to revive the stature of man in Africa and restore the dignity of man in the world. Nigerians believe passionately in the fundamental human rights. We regard all races of the human family as equal. Under no circumstance shall we accept the idea that the black race is inferior to any other race. I appeal to all our leaders, far and near, to forget the wounds which were inflicted in cause of our internecine altercations. The love of our country should outweigh the love of our pedestals. The enjoyment of individual freedom under the law should mean more to us than our self-centered party programs and manifestos. Common dangers and common enemies alert us on the need for common security. Come and join Abubakar with me, Sadauna, Awolowo, Akitola, Ofarebe, Okpara, Ikoku, Aminu Kano, Ibrahim Imam, and Saka. Let us bind the nation's wound and let us heal the breaches of the past so that in forging our nation, there shall emerge on this continent a hate-free, fear-free, and greed-free people who shall be in the vanguard of a world task force whose assignment is not only to revive the stature of man in Africa, but to restore the dignity of man in the world.
Welcome back from that break. And just before the break, I did inform you that I will be having major conversation today, looking at more focused on profession, the profession of land surveying, most especially in the FCTA. You can't do anything that has to do with building without actually first and foremost coming in contact with some of these professions, most especially the profession of land surveying. And good afternoon and welcome to the afternoon edition. The FCT coordinator, Madam Ajoke, or Surveyor Ajoke Fatima Akintola. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
It's nice having you today on the program.
Thank you.
The other day during your event, I saw how you were just moving one place to the other to see that yes, you put things in order. But then let me also quickly welcome you, Ekanem Kufre. It's also nice meeting you today on the afternoon edition.
Thank you so much. My pleasure.
Okay, let me quickly start with the FCT coordinator in person of Ajoke Fatima. Looking at the situation of things today, Nigeria is 64. How do you feel saying the fact that your country is now 64 and you are also the chairman, or let me say the coordinator of the women in surveying in FCT?
Okay, good afternoon, viewers. I would like to, first of all, to say Happy Independence Day to all Nigerians out there. We're 64 today.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact that for a long time we had only males in the surveying profession, and today women are taking leadership positions in NIS, that's Nigerian Institution of Surveyors. And of course we have the women wing. It's only the women that hold those positions, and we have women in high places today. So the women have grown and they've been part of the profession. Yes, women are taking places.
You just mentioned that women are taking places even in the national body. So is it that there is a preferential treatment being given to women when you have a national body of the women in surveying, and you also have them as also part of the executive of the NIS, and there's no male branch of it? Is there a male branch of it?
No, there is no male branch. But NIS, of course, is dominated by men.
Okay.
And so we had to branch off because we needed to build ourselves. We needed more women in the profession, and then it stemmed from mentorship.
Oh, okay.
It stemmed from mentorship because we needed to mentor. Like myself, I would take myself for example, getting into school, given land surveying in the ABU's area. I didn't know what surveying was about, and so when I got the admission, I cried, called my dad and said, I don't know what this I should come and do. I applied for something else, and so he just said, you've been at home for how many years? Just take it. Maybe you could change it later. And then I found myself in 500 level.
Or you find yourself as the FCT coordinator of the women in surveying.
and the coordinator, and then you asked the question.
Yeah.
For women getting professional treatment to hold the leadership in the NIS, no. That is, you have to earn it.
Okay.
So I think we, the women in leadership positions today, have earned it.
Okay,
yes.
Thank you so much. Ekanem Kufre, it's wonderful also having you here, being the fact that you are a former FCT young surveyors of Nigeria. You are the former chairman, or let me say the leadership of the group. Looking at the situation of things, do you think the national body has done much in grooming or in mentoring more young professionals in your field?
Okay, this is my first time speaking, so just like my coordinator said, I want to wish all Nigerians happy Independence Day celebration. We are 64 and we have come a long way, so kudos to all of us. Now back to your question, I would say yes, because the NIS is the umbrella body of all surveyors in Nigeria, and we have YSN as a body which is under NIS. So that alone shows that even though we have NIS, we have a parent body that oversees the functions of YSN. So we have strong mentorship from the parent body. And also internationally, YSN is a recognized body under what you call FIG. FIG is International Federation of Surveyors. So this body is recognized even internationally. And so coming to Nigeria, the national body doesn't just have any extra thing to do than to just support the YSN. So we have leaders there that work hand in hand with the national bodies. We have some ESCO members that are signed to be mentors to YSN. So now we're having programs then, although I'm no longer a member of YSN because there is the age limit, 35 years, you're no longer a member of YSN.
Standard.
Exactly. So we have national representatives from the body that are always present in every YSN programs, mentoring, guiding, giving tips on how to survive and, of course, prosper in the profession.
Okay, but in this particular regards now, looking at the situation of things in the country, and do you still see many Nigerian women, young Nigerian ladies going into this profession?
Yes, I see, because why I'm saying that is, surveying has come a long way. We have evolved. The technologies we use these days to carry out surveying makes the work easier than what it used to be before. Before, we used to have what we call survey, even at nights. You carry out observation to the moon in order to get some data. Now, the advent of more technological equipment has made us to do away with such methods, which was a security risk to some surveyors then. So with the advent of GPS, drone, total stations, it has made our work easier. So that alone is encouraging to women. We don't need to spend a long time in the bush or at sites, and we are now scared of probably wild animals and all those stuff. So we spend lesser time in the field, and we acquire the same data, if not even more accurate than it was before.
Okay, let me quickly turn back to the FCT coordinator. Looking at things now, the FCT is like the melting point of many professions. All the professionals want to see that, yes, they exhibit their strength in the FCT. And most especially in the FCT, where people actually see land as the oil in this particular city. It means the surveyors also generate so much fund. But I'm not actually asking for that of the FCT as the FCT woman coordinator. But then still, this profession you practice in the FCT, how challenging is it?
Surveying in FCT has been challenging. Reason being that we do not practice like the states do. In the states, they have the NIS body championing and giving them rules. FCT, everybody is allowed to practice. And so there are some standards that are not being upheld. We have many quacks out there positioning to be surveyors who are not registered surveyors. By the way, going to survey school does not make you a surveyor.
Okay.
There's an examination that you have to sit for and pass to qualify you to be a registered surveyor. And right now, the whole of Nigeria, we do not have up to 6,000 registered surveyors.
The whole of Nigeria, the 36 states, including the FCT?
Yes. So if anybody is coming to you and calling himself or herself a surveyor, check. There is a registration done in SOCON. That's the Surveyors Council of Nigeria. If that person is not on that list, the person is not registered. So the person is just a quack, probably giving you wrong data or using somebody else's identity. So it is important that when anybody wants to carry out a survey job, consult the right person, consult a registered surveyor. So in FCT, it's a land for everybody, it's a place for everybody. So there's been no, although right now we're trying to put measures in place where all of that will be regulated. And I'm sure very soon.
Okay, in this particular case now, if anybody that approaches FCT or comes into the city center, you see so many buildings. And then if you go across the area councils, you see buildings also coming up. Does that mean that many of these buildings actually were not properly scrutinized by the surveyors?
We have situation. Let me take for example the what's it called, that area, Trademore.
Yeah, Trademore.
Trademore area where we have buildings in the floodplain. Now, if surveyors were there and the right things were done, I'm sure they would have been advised. We can only advise you. It's you who knows where you want to put your money. We would advise you, okay, this place is not suitable for building. And I'm sure the FCT has a master plan as well. There are areas that have been mapped out. That, okay, this place is for building, this place is a green area, this place is a waterway. All those functions have been demarcated. And so if you come and say you want to build here, a surveyor would say, this is the result I have for you. You cannot build here, or it's up to you to take it.
Okay, because I've also noticed town planners, the FCT chairman, person of Madam Lami Piki Ayuba, she also raised so many questions with regards to how buildings are being built in the FCT most especially. But if you look at things critically, now that you are in the FCT, being the FCT coordinator of women in surveying, what are you actually putting in place to see that, yes, we have enough of these registered surveyors, land surveyors, to help to see that, yes, we don't just build buildings any way we want to build it or want to put our money anyway, because FCT lands are so expensive. We can just buy buildings where there are green areas or where there is what are they calling it, is waterlogged and the rest of it like that. What are you actually putting in place to see that, yes, a better enforcement can be taken? Like
I said, the Nigerian Institution of Surveyors, FCT branch, they are putting in place measures. There's I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but there's going to be a task force very soon that will oversee all of these practices. Now, like I said earlier, if I tell you you cannot build it and you decide, oh, I've bought it already, I bought it because I'm there, the person that wants to sell a land just wants to sell a land to you. And some people don't even verify those lands before they buy them. if you want to verify, it is surveyor you're going to call to the site to help you take your measurement. Then you go to the respective office that is going to check it for you and take whatever coordinate they have picked for you. Take it to that place, take it to the office and let them check it for you.
Okay. Let me return back to Kufri. Kufri, looking at things, and do we have, I can see that still, despite the fact that we have so many professionals, and then they also have this particular young professionals in their own midst. For instance, the Korean, they have their young professionals. Even amongst the teachers, they have their young professionals. Looking at the situation of things, is there a way each play in terms of productivity of a surveyor?
Okay, I wouldn't say, I can't say yes, direct yes or no. In a way, yes, age plays, because as a surveyor, when you get older, you're limited by, your strength is no longer as much as when you are much younger. We have most of our older surveyors that can't practice anymore. We call them elder statesmen. We go visit them, so they can't even move around anymore. So age in a way plays there. If you're young, like she said, irrespective of your age, when you're young, if you're registered, you can practice anywhere. So far as you're a registered surveyor with Surveyors Council of Nigeria, that's SOCON, you can register anywhere. So far as you're a registered surveyor, you can practice surveying in the confines of Nigeria. But aging, as you're getting older, of course, not just surveying, any other profession, you get tired and should be retiring and mentoring the young ones to come up.
Okay, in this particular instance, now I've seen in some university, when you look at those that, just like you rightly mentioned, look at, many people actually are not aware, many young Nigerians are not aware that, look, there's this profession called land surveying, because at times you double it with quantity surveying and the other one, I think about 3 of them like that. So how do you people mentor younger ones from secondary school to tell them, look, there are actually a better profession you can actually get yourself into, like surveying, being a former young surveyors chairman?
Okay, thank you. I think at this point I have to really appreciate and give kudos to women in surveying, this national now, because anytime we have our conferences, we always invite secondary school students, like the one we had last week when YSN was having their program, when WIS FCT was having their program. We invite secondary school students, both male and female, and they're always done the program. We teach them, we show them things that hitherto they didn't know about surveying, and with that, it's what we've been doing. Like, I remember, I think my first WIS conference was, I think, 2009 in Ondo State, Akure. I think I've attended Akure, Asaba, and a few others. So in all those programs, you always have secondary school students that are always in attendance. We go invite them, and even on our own, without even the national, the programs, WIS FCT on our own, we go out to schools in FCT.
So WIS, that stands for Women in
Surveying, yes.
Of those watching.
Exactly, and even WIS and FCT too, they go out to secondary school students around FCT to mentor them when they're having their career day. Yes, I know they used to go to these schools and speak to them about surveying, because most of them, the surveying they know is mostly quantity surveying and probably essay surveying. Like me, it was until I got to school, I schooled in University of Uyo. Until I got to school, I was given admission that I knew that there is a course like surveying. But I knew there was surveyors, but I couldn't really demarcate quantity from lands. And I, like, similar to hers, I didn't like the course. I was just offered this, and I called my mentor then, an uncle I was living with. He was on sabbatical in Unijos. I told him, Uncle, my admission is out, and please, when you come back, I'd like you to help me change it to biochemistry, because he was a lecturer in the school. So he was like, why don't I, like, I said, I know surveyors to just be in the bush with theodolite, one long thing and a pole. I wasn't cut out for that then. So he said when he comes back during the holidays, he will help me. So I think I was in school 2 weeks after the admission. I wasn't going for lectures. Rather, I would join the biochemistry students to go for lectures. So I go home to see my parents, and I told them. My mother was like, how come you didn't tell us since? That is a nice course, a professional course. When you're through with school, you could get registered, work on your own. You don't need to work for government, but biochemistry, you need to be employed. So I now started looking at it a different way. And by the time I got to make up my mind to join them in class, they had already gone far. But I still join them and work hard. I'm here now.
That's a very good word. But probably you have also seen the money in it, and you know many people will say that it's, so at the end of the day it all boils down to money. And but then still, let me ask you, being the coordinator of the FCT, she have stated so much. Is there any difference between surveying and geomatics? Because that's a new trend of name that is coming out in most of our institutions now.
Okay, surveying has evolved. Surveying has really evolved. We have new technologies. And then instead of just limiting it to surveying, it has evolved to geomatics in some schools. It has evolved into geoinformatics in some schools. And so surveying and geomatics are the same.
Okay.
Geomatics comes with better technology. Newer technologies.
The Gen Z kind of courses. That's why probably I know so many people have argued. I remember because even at some point in the institution where I studied, same institution as yours, I know that so many people at some point were saying, oh, why would they take quantity surveying from geomatics out and leaving quantity survey by the side? There are so many debates during those days. But still, being the fact that you are the FCT woman in surveying coordinator, what programs have you been able to put on ground to see that, yes, people get to know about your organization, people get to know about what you people are actually doing to make society better?
I'd proudly say that the seminar held last week was one of its kind in the FCT. That's the first seminar FCT Women in Surveying has ever held. And prior to that, we have always gone to schools, like she rightly said. We've always gone to schools, we get invited to schools, or we go to schools and ask them to invite us to come speak to their students about the surveying profession. And that's one of our goals, catching them young. And I would say basically that we women in surveying are there to just mentor the younger ones. People that are coming in, let them know about it. If I knew about it then, I would not play away my time in school then. But then, thank God, still
fits in.
Yes. But then I think I would have done better if I knew about it before I got the admission. So what we do is we go to schools, we provide mentorship, and I also would want to chip this in on the national level. We have a foundation that we're starting up for basically secondary school students. We are going to pick from each zones the best students in schools who the Women in Surveying National now is going to sponsor through school. Surveying. Doesn't necessarily have to be a woman. Not necessarily have to be a girl. Yes. Could be a boy, could be a girl.
But that's also a very good one, because we are now seeing a situation whereby so many people seem to not to be exposed to some of the rigorous academic activities that are attached to courses like this. But for the women folk or for the girls in institutions, what kind of motivation do you think they will need to have for them to actually settle down and see land surveying as the future?
I would always use myself as an example, right? When we came in 100 level, we're around 80 something that got that course that same year. At the time we graduated in 500 level, we were 34. Many people pulled out, and out of 34, we were only 6 or 7 of us that were ladies. As I speak to you, it's not all those 6 of us or 7 of us that are practicing. Just very few of us are practicing now. So if I'm going to say that how do we mentor or push for, my own motivation then was seeing those people that have excelled in the profession. I met those people that had excelled in the profession as at that time, and I was like, okay, if I didn't like this course, why not? If this person can do like this, if this person can be like this, if this person can be like this, then I can. Why not? Why can't I? I wanted architecture, they didn't give me. I tried change of course, it didn't happen. And so I just faced it squarely. Okay, this was what I did was I tried to know the people who were excelling at the time. I got close to them, you know, they keep talking to you, you can do this, you can do that, or do like this, do like that. They invite, as a student then, they were inviting me for conferences. They would invite you, you go there, you get eye-opening ideas, like, so I think basically That's what motivated me, and I think that more of it will motivate people that are upcoming as well.
Okay, we'll go on a very short break now because you guys have discussed so much with respect to your role in the society, also the future of the NIS itself, that's the surveying profession itself. Being the fact that you are a former chairman of this particular forum of the young surveyors in Nigeria, it's also a very good thing because people are actually looking up to you. Now you've gone beyond that particular age, you are no longer there. People want to actually understand the experiences, what it is for you to be able to be at that apex and then share your idea of what you actually did during those particular days. And also being the FCT coordinator, so much is expected. Seeing the fact that women are in position of leadership, people also want to emulate them, young girls, and giving them hope is very, very important on this 64th anniversary of Nigeria independence. So we'll go on this short break, and then when we return, we continue with the conversation.
The welfare of millions of people for generations to come may be affected by the wisdom which we here display. If Nigerian leaders and our British partners are to prove themselves worthy of their trust, now is the time for us solemnly and truly to dedicate ourselves to seeking the greatest good of the greatest number of our people in Nigeria. Independence for Nigeria in 1960 is imperative. But independence for Nigeria as a corporate entity is not enough. The peoples of Nigeria must at the same time be guaranteed their freedom. We must ensure that in an independent Nigeria, individual citizens throughout the land enjoy liberty, human dignity, and equality under the law. There must be one Nigeria with one constitution and one law for all. Let us therefore, Mr. Chairman, sir, close our ears to the counsel of despair, which says that we cannot here at this conference agree on a constitution. If there's any doubt among us as to what should be written into the constitution, let us, as Democrats that we profess ourselves to be, refer such problems, as the Gaulle has done recently, to the people whom we profess to represent, either just before or at the federal elections late in 1959.
On the theme of the event, Inspiring the Career Woman, positioning her for excellence, Ajoke said women should reflect deeply in championing their role in all areas, especially in the surveying field.
Our theme for this year, Inspiring the Career Woman, positioning her for excellence, resonates deeply with our mission. It underscores our dedication to empowering women, providing them with the necessary tools, opportunities, and support to excel in their career. Today, we gather here to share insights, experiences, and strategies that will inspire each one of us to push the boundaries of what is possible.
A senior lecturer at the Department of Geomatics, Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, and the guest speaker, Dr. Moses Mefe, called on the federal government to show more support to the surveying profession, pointed out that the involvement of women in the surveying profession will impact technological advancement in Nigeria, which has helped to create gender balance.
Before now, the surveying profession used to be more field work that requires a lot of strength, because surveying is the background of all developments. Before you construct any road, before you construct any major engineering project, the surveyor will have to be the first person to be present during the work and even after the work. So because of that, it's quite labor intensive. However, the modern context of the profession, with the introduction of IT tools, more women can now take various aspects of the profession. You now have field work and office work, so more women are inclusive, and then there are also very strong women that are more interested even in the field work than the office work. So I think more women are being introduced into the profession, and then with the IT tools now present, they can easily work as well.
Participants who attended the event expressed the belief that if relevant stakeholders support women in the surveying profession, it brings about much needed development in the country. Isanu, ASO TV.
Welcome back from that break, and just before the break I did inform you that so much actually happened last week with respect to the women in surveying during their program, and so many lecturers were there, including the FCT, that's the managing director of the Abuja Investment Company Limited. So many stakeholders were also there in respect from the FCTA itself. But then there are certain things that Nigerians would also need to understand, that yes, there are no profession that is only meant for the male folks or for the young boys. There are all the professionals that we have in this country, they cut across the gender. So there is no one that is left for just only male or for just the woman. And that's the more reason why you see today we have so many organizations coming out to say, look, nothing is impossible for the women. The women can go as far as they want. If you allow things to go, just like in the medical field. Before now, we don't have gynecologists as women, but today we see so many of them actually doing that profession with so many laurels with them. So still with us in the studio is Surveyor Ajoke Fatima Akintola and Surveyor Ekanem Kufre Josmat doing their thing, and also telling Nigerians that yes, today being the 64th Independence Day, there are so much we can achieve together as young men and women in the country. So let me quickly come to you before I move back to Kufre. What do you think are the major challenges that comes with this profession?
I think the first and foremost would be security. Yes, security on site, basically, because we have recently, because of the banditry situation in the country, we have surveyors getting kidnapped. We have instruments getting seized by maybe settlers in the area who go to work because they don't understand what is happening, and that stems from awareness that they do not have. It stems from awareness that they don't have. They seize instruments. Sometimes they even beat surveyors up. They don't care whether you're a woman or you're a man. They beat you up. Yeah,
probably you maybe want to come and steal their land, seeing that you know this person is from a government, and definitely you have come to take the survey of their area.
Sometimes the client too that has employed you, like me, if I'm going to go to somewhere that I know may be volatile, I ask the client to provide security details for me, so that when I'm there, I know they fear the guns. So when they see that, they just hail you and move back. But
okay. So let me ask Kufre now, with respect to what she has said, and looking at the challenges that comes with it. Nigerians is facing so many challenges, most especially from the economic front, and food security seems to be one of these particular challenges. And when you are talking about development in the country, it comes with the real estate sector, and also it comes with so many other sectors that definitely you see forestry area or land areas being converted into where is habitable. I know surveying is not restricted to real estate itself. It goes beyond that. But in this particular case, just like what she mentioned, at times you go to a certain location and there are actually people resident in that location. Probably the government has taken a new policy that has to do with changing that particular setting into a more updated setting. Being a former young professional, how would you address this situation?
I talk of situation of trying to convince them to resettle. Yes. Okay, to answer your question, first of all, they need to be properly informed, because sometimes this is their ancestral home. They were born there, and that's all they know as their home. And then all of a sudden, you tell them to move out to another place. You unsettle them, and it might take a long time, if at all, they'll be able to settle back to, and even if they have to go to another place. So I think government has to come in, speak to them, let them see the bigger picture, that if they leave this place, they are going to be gaining more from the development that government is bringing to that place. So with that, I think when government is also trying to resettle them, they should make the new place habitable for them. If they are, because some of them, it's an agricultural setting. These people are farmers, and then you now move them to a place where they don't have any farm. So you see, their life is taking a dramatic shift from what they're used to. So when you're settling them, you should make provisions for, even if it doesn't have to be, the farm doesn't have to be as big as where they were before, but something close to the original place they were staying before. So government has to be intentional about their continuity of life in their new place. So fine, all lands belong to governments. Fine, you want to resettle them, but then also consider their continuity of life in their new place. Don't just move them from an arable land to a city where they're now used to another type of life. They're not traders, they're farmers. So move them to a place that is close to a farming settlement.
Okay, let me quickly come to you, because this one is peculiar to the FCT. You know, at some point, people believe that, yes, the Gbagi is actually the Gbagi. Different settlers were, or let me say, different inhabitants of this particular city were here before the federal capital came in, and so many of them were resettled. But then just across this station here, you see that there is a particular settlement in the other side of it, but just small village like that. In the presence of, I think, a military barrack and the rest of it. So many issues on how you pull people out of where they are known to be to where they are not known to be. What kind of enlightenment program will your association take to see that, yes, you address issues like this in collaboration with the government?
Okay, enlightening the public about resettling. I know that there are resettlement schemes. I think that's basically the government's work. The surveyor basically just helps them provide data for this resettlement. So surveyors coming in is giving the surveyor specifications of what you want them to do. We want to move people from this area, like you said, an arable area, to another place where at least something close to being arable is what they are going to get there. A surveyor is there to help locate such places. And so in collaboration with the government, I think that a surveyor also plays a role in trying to convince them that if you're being moved from this place to this place, you're going to get almost as good as what you used to have. So. Okay,
let me come quickly. How often do you ladies get challenged by the male folks in your place of work? Are there any issues of gender bias, any other issues strongly?
On a personal basis, I haven't experienced much of gender bias. I think maybe it's my person, but because in survey, there's no male, there's no female. We're all surveyors, and surveyors are all male. We're all go to sites. We all need to get data. We all need to process data. We all need to get results. So there's nothing like in terms of the real work. There's no male or female. But in field work, I would say a little bit of challenge that I faced was in accommodation. Like there's a time I traveled to Oyo State for field work, and there were like 6 of us in a team. I was the only female, and all the male gathered themselves and got hotel accommodation, like 2 or 3 rooms to pay. They paired up 3 in a room and paid less, and I was the only one. I was like, am I going to now be the one to pay for a full room? Do you know what I did? I spoke to my colleagues and I stayed with them. I stayed with them in the room, and there was no issues. We all stayed together. Yes, when it's time to use the restroom, oh, Kufra is there, and everybody was exactly. And when I'm through, they cannot go in. So we work hand in hand. When I get to site, mostly I'm the only female, so we all work hand in hand. I'm also sometimes given the preference though, like has she eaten? Has she gotten this? Where is Kufra? Call her. Let's come and take this. But apart from that, I've not really felt any challenge.
So like invariably is a profession that actually accommodates women.
Exactly.
So many young Nigerians now should be looking up to that.
They should actually.
Okay, on a closing, let me also get your views, if you have any other with respect to the issue of, in general, the number of women you have within yourself as a team, being that of the women in surveying in FCT?
In FCT, we have more than 200 surveyors, but I think that the women amongst us are just around 30 to 40 registered.
Registered, okay, registered
Yes.
members of your association.
Yes.
So in this particular aspect now, are they all practicing?
For those that are registered, there's no reason for you to register if you're not going to be practicing. So everybody that registered is practicing.
But have you ever witnessed any issue of probably somebody saying he's a fake surveyor, or any report of that nature, saying that somebody is actually doing the work that he or she is not supposed to do?
Yes. Yes.
So
It happens a lot.
How do you people move in to correct issues like that?
Like I said, we're trying to regulate that, and we also will be needing the government's input, and that's why I called it. There's going to be a task force that's going to look into regulating practices in FCT.
Okay, Kufre, you studied in UNICAL,
University of Uyo.
University of Uyo, sorry,
Yes.
I mean to say, very close to Tinapa, not that far, just some distance from Tinapa. Looking at the land in that particular region, I know how it is because I've had 1 or 2 studies within that particular area. How do you manage surveying in that area? Because some places are densely
Populated,
densely. I mean the forestry area in that particular axis now.
Okay, the canopy cover
Yes.
in Tinapa is actually thick, and not just Tinapa, most southern regions. And in that area, survey can be difficult because most of those plants, the trees, they obstruct our line of sight. And when we are trying to carry out survey, they obstruct even us, the instrument communicating with our satellites in space. So in that regards, we could, depending on your points, we could can open up a bit of a space so far we can communicate with the satellite in space. We are good to go. Just try and create opening for you to communicate to the satellite.
Okay, and just your last word before we call it a day.
Okay, last word, we need to, as surveyors, as females, we need to do more of this because there's a lot survey can contribute to national building, and we have survey in agriculture, climate change, education, to combating crimes, but we are not that loud yet. But I feel with this program and many more to come, we would be able to speak to the public, let them know that surveying is not just about carrying instruments about and you see just a title deed plan on your table. There's more we can do with our data.
Okay, thank you so much. To Ajoke Fatima, what was your last state, being the fact that you are the FCT Women in Surveying Coordinator?
Okay, I would say that I would like to let the general public know that when you see a surveyor near you, a surveyor is only doing his or her job. The person is not coming to take your land, the person is not coming to take anything away from you, so please treat them with respect.
If only we have time, I would have countered that statement, but then still this is how far we can go today on the program, the afternoon edition. Having this conversation with the leadership of the surveying women in the FCT, it's very, very important because mainly, if you look at all the profession in the country, so many people feel that there are professions that women or young ladies shouldn't go into. But then, land surveying, especially for these two that are here, there's money in it. I know what I'm telling you. And also, it's a very good career path. And then this is how far we can go today on the afternoon edition. My name is Isanu. Have a wonderful day.